One of the important topics of this week's Parsha Naso deals with the sota, the suspected unfaithful wife. The Torah describes how a husband suspects his wife of infidelity due to her seclusion with another man. To note, the sota only addresses circumstantial evidence that she was unfaithful to her husband, and not that it was an established fact. All the same, because of her seclusion, the husband becomes jealous of his wife. In keeping with the Torah's directive, he then brings his wife to the temple to undergo the sota ceremony to establish her status. If after having undergone the ceremony she is proven innocent, then not only will nothing happen to her, but she will even be rewarded with having a child. If she is guilty, then unfortunately her future does not look too promising. Truthfully, the Torah's description of the sota ceremony does not detail a most pleasant experience. Throughout the ceremony, the woman was subject to much degradation by the kohen at hand, and to feelings of great embarrassment just by being present in the temple under suspicion of being unfaithful to her husband. To make matters worse, when learning the halachot of sota, we see that Chazal made the process even more unpleasant and cumbersome. Instead of going to the temple when the husband became suspicious and jealous of his wife, the husband first needed to go to the local town's court and open a court case. Once having started the case in court, there needed to be official testimony for every step of the way. Only after everything had been brought before the court, with testimony, including cross-examining the witnesses, and everything seemed to be in order, only then would the judges authorize the husband to take his wife to the temple to undergo the sota ceremony. So by the time the wife would undergo the sota ceremony at the temple, she would have already experienced a whole long, excruciating judicial process. If the sota ceremony was already an unpleasant and degrading experience, why would Chazal want to add it to the unpleasantness and complicate things for the suspected woman instead of helping her? Delving deeper into the tractate of sota, we can see that it was not actually Chazal's intention to add unpleasantness for the woman. In general, especially many years ago, the woman usually had the weaker position in her marriage. As a result, Chazal did what they could to protect her as much as possible. That is why, for example, the husband needs to give his wife a ketubah, a marriage contract when they marry, to protect her interests in their marriage. By the sota, Chazal had a situation on their hands. If a husband suspected his wife of infidelity, the husband's emotions naturally could become quite elevated. As a result, Chazal wanted to help protect the woman from the elevated emotions and impulses of her husband. They did it by running interference, by complicating and drawing out the process to such an extent that hopefully the husband would calm down and regain his senses. To accomplish this, Chazal transformed the whole episode from the realm of emotions and impulses into a case of judgment. Chazal instituted that every single step of the way would need to be done in front of witnesses and then be testified about in court. Even the underlying requirement for the husband to express his jealousy of his wife's suspected actions would need to be expressed in front of two witnesses who could then testify about this before the court. We can say that Chazal were trying to follow God's lead as expressed in the Midrashim. God was willing for his great name to be erased in the sota ceremony if that would help promote peace between a husband and wife. In the human realm, Chazal were also trying to promote peace between husband and wife by making it much harder to act on emotion and impulses. Instead of being you versus me, by drawing out the whole process, hopefully the husband and wife can learn eventually to make it we. Shabbat Shalom.